And welcome to another episode of Touche TV, Raw and Live. I'm your boy Tony Hill, creator of Touche, which is tough, outrageously unique, challenging, highly motivated exercise. And I want to share with you today nutrition and you, the power and failure of food. Hopefully, by the end of this segment, you'll be able to understand how valuable food is, both on the positive and on the negative. So first of all, I'd like to special shout out to, my sponsors for their support. And it's like, wow, they represent very well. Special shout out to my production team led by Ariel Shaw. Thank you so much for your hard work for this show. The show is now, we have another show, which is Fit Over 50. That's on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. This Sunday, we have a really special guest along with Michael Green. We have Karen. Karen is literally going to blow your mind on some stuff that is going to make a difference in your life if you just pay attention to her. She's truly raw and uncut. So what we're going to do is going to get into this sauce here about nutrition and you. Let's talk about the first thing that's important. Food. What is it? What is it? Okay. Because nobody ever asks the question. It's almost like when somebody comes to class. When somebody comes to class, they come and they really ready. They work out. They really, fired up, ready to go. Then I go to them. I says, "Why are you here?" And they look at me and they're thinking, right? It's like, to lose weight. I said, "No, how about to be healthy?" They said, yeah. Because if you're healthy, you lose weight, right? So basically, I never assumed that people really know and understand literally why they do what they do. It's not that, they're not aware. It's just simply they just don't know. And I get that, okay? So I did some really good looking at food. And here's what the definition of it is. This is really interesting. Food is one of the basic necessities of life. Food contains nutrients, substances essential for the growth, repair, and maintenance of body tissues, and for the regulation of vital processes. Nutrients provide the energy, which is food, provide the energy our bodies need to function. The energy in foods is measured in units called calories. Now, that's the definition. That's the raw definition of food. Now, understanding that foundation, anything you put in the body is supposed to be life itself. So the question is, what are you putting in your body? Whatever you put inside your body actually comes outside your body. See, and that's something people don't really get. It's like people tell me that they eat right and they do this and that. And then I tell them, okay, the question is not that you think you're eating right, but what do you look like? And this is a hard pill to swallow for most of us because we actually don't want to answer that question. But the real truth is, literally, you are simply what you eat. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is if you're doing it right. Now, there is a right and a wrong when you're dealing in science. There's a right and wrong. So you have to really, really be careful about what you put in your body because you may not like the results that comes along with what you put inside. So food is actually the thing that sustains our life. Now, interesting enough, whatever that is, if we had an apocalypse or something, people are going to be living off of donuts and canned goods and things that they can find. But it's like the body is very smart. So when you're talking about muscle tissue degeneration, that's due to inactivity or overtraining, then you're talking about hypertrophy, which is muscle gain, and atrophy, which is muscle loss. It's all tied in to food, okay? So let's say I'm answering some questions that's really basic, right? The basic thing is, what is food and why do we eat it, right? A food is something that provides nutrients. Nutrients are substances that provide energy for activity, growth, and all functions of the body. This is food. Now, food. Food is fuel. Whatever you put in the body is designated as food to the body. Alcohol, junk food, meats, other carbs, butter. I can tell you this. They said there's actually 7 types of foods, right? And some say there's more than that. Listen, they divided food into 7 groups, and I'm getting this from the studies: drinks, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, dairy, meat, fish, eggs, and high sugar foods. It's incredible. Each of these groups provide different nutrients and should be consumed at a different rate. Well, some of it shouldn't be consumed at all, but this is just a basic foundation. And then they go on and they say, this is really curious. This is really interesting. The 3 main types of foods are energy-giving foods, body-building foods, and protective foods. Again, 3 main types of foods are energy-giving foods, bodybuilding foods. I don't mean bodybuilders, not this body. I need bodybuilding. That means building a stronger body, and protective foods. Let me break it down for you. Energy-giving foods. They are made of course, carbohydrates and fats. This is energy. Bodybuilding foods are made up of mostly proteins, right? And also, then there's foods that help repair the body. Okay? So, if you look at foods and they have personality, they do have personality. And so you can't disregard what you put in the body at any given time you want to. Your taste buds are the things that you like, but has a lot to do with culture and how you were brought up. You create these appetites for things that you were raised on, but it doesn't make it right, especially as you get older. So you have to understand the personality of foods never change. Say, for example, you had TV dinners all the time, right? Well, TV dinners are filled with chemicals, back then when I had a TV dinner, we know nothing about no chemicals. We just ate, that's because that's exactly what we wanted to do. We just wanted to eat to be full. So as you get older, you have to understand you can't eat like that all the time. You have to actually change it. And this is where, time comes in at. This is where, hopefully you find somebody, or hopefully not, God forbid, you get sick, and then you realize that you do have to change your food. Okay. So food has personality. If you have good food, you can tell by the way the body looks. If you have bad food, again, you can tell by the way the body looks, right? Which food actually gives us energy, which is a very, very important topic, because people who come to work out, now what they're doing is they're changing the food for an energy drink. Well, pre-workout formulas are really good if you know which pre-workout formula you're getting, right? Pre-workout means you need something to prepare the body to expend the energy while you're training, to give you the energy, the blood flow to the muscle, things that you can, and get your head in the right space so that you can exercise. But food-wise, here's some energy foods. There's oatmeal, because it's a complex carb. And actually rice is really good. Bananas, right? Sesame seeds, even cinnamon. Water, believe it or not, is an energy food. Beans, right? Are energy. Lentils, things like that. But be careful of those lentils, because those lentils can give you some really bad gas, so you got to be careful for those things, man. I have no idea why that happens, but, I've had clients who actually love lentils. And before we exercise, they used to go, please don't, I'm so sorry. And I'm going, why are you apologizing? And then all of a sudden this aroma comes. I said, oh, I get it. Okay. So let me be professional. Okay. It's okay. Hey, let it go. Let it ride. But some foods give you gas and bloating. Okay. And you I don't know what to tell you. Me, sometimes you can't hold back. So let's talk about too what to eat when you're tired. Well, when you're tired in regards to food, you want to stay away from any complex carbohydrate because the body, if it's at night and you're tired, you're supposed to be. But during the day, that's when you can use a complex carb to give you that burst of energy because your blood sugar is low, right? So you have to be careful on that carb. It could be, make sure it's unprocessed foods. You don't want that because that'll rob you, right? So keep in mind the power of food is understanding what foods work for your body, right? The failure of food is, say, when you're low on energy, you grab a protein bar because that's the wrong sugar. That's sucrose. That's man-made. That's filled with man-made sugar. That's not a natural sugar. And what that would do, that would crash you. Now, a banana is a little different. Now, a banana being high in sugar, it's the good sugar, which is the fructose. But banana is also filled with potassium. So some people can take bananas and they get up, they have their energy up, and then it'll crash them. But some people can sustain. But the best energy food is apple that I know of throughout the years. I've had clients have sliced the apple, and about 40 minutes to an hour before a class, they've consumed the apple, and the apple gives you sustained energy up to 2 to 4 hours. I have no reason why. I mean, I have actually, when you look at the apple, right? And you want to know what it is, right? It gives you an interesting meaning, and I'm going to actually share that with you. Let me see, apple. No, that's not what I want. Let me look at this is live, y'all. Apple is, let me make sure, let me see if it comes out. It's crazy because they, Apple. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I just brought that up because I actually, it hasn't changed actually what that is, but apples are incredibly nutritious. That offers multiple health benefits, and we know that they're rich in fiber and antioxidants. Now, antioxidants actually help the free radicals. If you want to know what a free radical is, cut an apple and set it outside. The apple will immediately turn brown. That's because the free radicals you don't see in the air actually begin to consume the apple, and they kill the apple. So we're exposed to free radicals all day long, and even at night. We can't see these things, and they cause premature aging. They cause a lot of things, especially when you're not healthy. But the apple is very rich in antioxidants. Oftentimes, I'll come in late at night, 11:30, I'm hungry. I'll have an apple or two before I go to bed, and I'll wake up. And I tell you what, I feel different when I wake up. It's really amazing. Eating an apple lowers the risk of chronic conditions as well. Diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Apples may also promote weight loss and improve gut and brain health. This is your apple. This is your apple, and I want to find out too the most benefits of the apple, because what happens is we're talking Fuji Red Delicious apples, things like that. Let me say apple benefits energy. I'm literally learning anyway. Apple and energy. Apple's good for energy. Let's see. Let me see this current research I'm looking right now with you. Okay, they do say which fruit gives you the most energy. You know what fruit they came up with? The banana. But also it can crash you as well. When you eat an apple, let me explain. The carbohydrates break down into a sugar called glucose. That's the apple. And enters your bloodstream. That sugar travels to your cells where it turns into energy for your body. Now, here's the catch. It says here, when you eat it, that sugar turns into glucose. Now, there's fructose, glucose, and sucrose. Fructose is from fruit. Glucose is from starchy carbs. Sucrose is from man-made sugar. Check this out. The apple is converted into glucose, not fructose, even though it's a sugar. And I think that's where it is. Your banana is the same thing. It converts into glucose, but it's higher in sugar. But the apple is very constant. It's really amazing. That apple is so complete. So if you really want a natural source of energy that does a lot for you, that old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Yeah, it does. But the food failure comes in when you try and you don't know how to replace or add to your life to change your life. Sometimes you have to go to it through a detox, or if you intermittent fast or whatever, so that you can reboot your taste buds and everything, so that you can actually start to feel start your body to tell you what's going on and what's not going on when you eat whatever that you eat, which is very, very, very important. If there's any questions, you guys can ask. Okay, let's talk about the diet that gives you energy. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, this is a good one. You guys I never really paid any attention to this, but this sure makes sense. Foods for exercise and the foods that give you energy. All right, let's talk about the foods are the worst before you exercise, okay? And we all know what that is. It's called proteins. Before you exercise, protein foods does not give you energy. They do not. Carbohydrate foods does. Now, there's different carbohydrates that supplies different kinds of energy. Now, if you're going to go to fibrous carbs are vegetables. They don't give you the energy supply you need before you train. Complex carbs do, okay? Very important to understand. Not a protein bar, not a cookie, not a protein cookie, not anything like that. It has to be a complex carb. And we're talking literally what I said to you earlier. We're talking oatmeal, rice. We're talking, again, we talked about apples. The real interesting thing about that, make sure that if you have any fruit before you exercise, make sure, 2 to 3 hours you haven't eaten anything, because you don't want that apple. You don't want to eat and then have the apple, because it's contrary. What's happening if you eat, you got your protein, fat, and carb meal. And then about 30 minutes, you say, I'm going to go and exercise and I'm low on energy because the body's processing the food you ate. And then you have the apple on top of that. Then you're bloated and you don't feel comfortable. But if you eat every 2 to 3 hours, your stomach is pretty much processed and digest enough to where you're hungry again. Before you consume anything, as an option, you can have the apple because it won't bloat you. But don't try to eat the whole apple. I usually tell people, slice it and then have it in a bag before you work out. And it's really cool that, say, for example, you work out at 5:30. Okay, so you finished, you had your lunch, and then you have a snack, right? But right before, classes at 5:30, that lunch should be between 12 and 1 or whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's even good that before you work out right there, you have that apple around 4 o'clock, right? And then at 5:30, it's processes in your system. You have your class, you go home, and you have, a nice meal at the end. But it has to be something like, fish, asparagus, spinach, kale, things like that. Fish always works at night because it's really good. Okay. So with that being said, that's all I have for you today. So for more information, you can go to touchefitness.com and get everything we have. We have merchandise, we have music. We also have actually Touche Fitness subscription, Touche Live, and this is Touche Live TV, raw and uncut. So we do have a subscription, which is having a personal coach in your pocket. It's $10 a month. Please join the team. Again, this is our second episode. We're working out the kinks, but this show is for you. I want you to get involved. I want you to sign up, register, subscribe, share, touchefitness.com, and I will see you next week. Have a great evening.
bodybuilder in San Diego named Tony Hill.
Learn from yourself what you are capable of.
And the main thing I like about him, he cares. He really cares. He's doing it from the heart.
You can tell he cares about everybody, no matter what level they're at or how old they are.
He actually thinks we're so